Alright, so I was struggling with myself back and forth, if I was going to tell people about my weight loss journey, because there's so many negative people in the world that I didn't want to have the conversation. I didn't want to have to defend the reasons why I do what I do for myself. I didn't want to hear the negative comments or anything that could possibly persuade me into not going through with my weight loss situation. But now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, let me go ahead and share my story, because it might be somebody else out there feeling the same way. So let's help each other, you know? So you probably like, Sequoia, what do you mean weight loss journey? Like exercising, dieting, like what exactly are you talking about? So your girl had the gastric sleeve done on March 15th of 2023. And if you have been following me or know me in real life, you're probably like, girl, you weren't even big like that. So why did you feel the drastic need to do that? And that's what I was trying to avoid by letting people know what I was doing. So a nice handful of people knew what I was doing. If you knew, it's probably because you've already had it or you're getting it yourself. So with the gastric sleeve, it's not just about weight loss. It's about getting healthy. Your girl not healthy. With that being said, maybe about, I guess I'll start from like the beginning. Maybe about, I'd probably say maybe 7 years ago. Yeah, like maybe between 5 to 7 years ago, I was around 198 pounds. I'm only 5'2". So at that time, it was purely, I just want to lose weight. It was hard for me to keep it off. So I wanted something to help me permanently keep this weight off. So I looked into weight loss surgery because I knew somebody that had it. Went to the place where she went and ended up getting disqualified because I got sick a week before orientation, which made me lose weight. So it knocked me out of the BMI qualification, which is 35. So being that I was disqualified, it kind of bummed me out, because it's like, fuck, like no matter what I try to do to lose weight, something is always against me. So years have gone by. I started to develop asthma, severe allergies, high blood pressure, gastritis, pancreatitis, what else? Sleep apnea, found out that I had a hernia. So it was just all these different things that then brought me into a deep depression because of all the medications I was taking at such a young age. And I'm like, this really can't be my life. Like, at this point, be dead. Because what good are you to the world with all these medications? Like, what the fuck? But of course, your girl can't die. I mean, I got kids and shit. I got reasons to live. So, of course, I'm just living with this, taking my medications. Some nights were very scary because it felt like I was going to suffocate. Like, it was really a trying time. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta figure this out. Ran into a friend that was taking a detox drink and it was helping her lose weight. So I'm like, well, let's start there. So Drink to Shrink, some of you know, because I used to sell it. And the only reason why I sold it is because I knew it worked, at least for me. With following the guidelines, it definitely worked. I dropped like 20 pounds and I was off of my high blood pressure pills, but I still had all the other issues. So I'm like, all right, now what? Because it helped, but it didn't do what I needed to do. All right, so back at it. So now I'm thinking like, all right, we need another way to drop weight permanently. So I was thinking, fuck it, tummy tuck. Let's do a tummy tuck, because at least I thought I held most of my weight in my stomach, because at the end of the day, like when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't really see yourself the way yourself is really being seen. So I thought that all my weight was in my stomach. So I'm like, well, if we cut the stomach off, everything should be Gucci, right? So then it was like, all right. But then I was thinking about all the other shit, like people dying, and then like the recovery time, because I am one of those moms that is a on hands mom. Like, I find joy in taking my kids to school, picking my kids up from school. Like, if I can't do it and my husband can't do it, I be like losing my fucking mind. So I'm like, what else can I do? All right, so tummy tuck costs money. I mean, we had care credit, but I'm like, at the end of the day, yeah, I could put it on care credit, but who gonna pay the bill? Because I got real bills. Like, so it's like, all right, fuck it. All right, let's try to change the eating habits. Let's go back to working out. But there's always something, because I'm one of those people that take care of everybody else before they take care of themselves. Let's just put that shit out there. I'm just one of those type of people. So we just gonna go ahead, fast forward. I'm like, fuck it. October last year, I'm like, I'm done playing these games. I'm getting this weight loss surgery, like, because my BMI tells me that I can. All the other side effects that you need to get approved for this surgery tells me I can. So there's no way I can't get this and it be 100% fucking covered. So why not? So I got to Googling, got to reading the thing I hate the most. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, Las Vegas Bariatrics. Let's fill out this little questionnaire. Let's see what it do. They called me. I went in for a consultation. Of course, you know, you got to bring all your little insurance cards. It's not the other. So I go. I'm double covered. Thank God. I'm double covered. Thanks to COVID. So, got hubby's insurance. Got Medicaid. Cool. Get in there. They like, okay, yeah, your weight, you're definitely over 35 BMI, and I had my doctor already send over, because me and her was already talking about the shit. So I had my doctor already send over all my information. They like, yeah, you definitely have a lot of health issues, and this surgery will definitely help you with that. Boom. Okay, so what's next? So they like, great news, your insurance is going to cover everything 100%. So boom, I'm like, what I gotta do? They said, and here's some even better news. I'm like, what's up? They're like, they don't even have all the other requirements like the other insurances do for other people. A lot of people have to go through a 6-month program. Guess what you got to do? I'm like, what? They said, just complete everything on this sheet. Say less. I'm like, looking at the sheet. Okay, this, and this, and this. I said, so pretty much, if it takes me a long time, it's only because these people don't have appointments. So what I'm about to do, first of all, left the appointment, sat in the car. Started making my appointments, baby. Okay, got my appointment for this, got my appointment for that, got my appointment for this. I already talked to my doctor. They need this from you. She's like, say less. And good thing I already had my sleep study and all that shit done, because I was having issues. So a lot of the stuff that they needed me to do has already been done and was within the time frame God worked. All right, so I'm like, fuck it. I mean, I wasn't working or nothing, so I'm sitting at the house, you know, just while the kids is at school. I'm like, let me just get to this questionnaire. So she lied, because that shit was like 500 questions, and I was dozing off. And it was literally, I think what had happened is that originally it's 250, but depending on how you answer the questions, brings on more questions, because it's kind of like a personality test. And I don't really do too well at those, because I'm a realist. And I really don't think the way a lot of people think. So I ended up answering like 500 fucking questions. Long story short. So I called back to make my appointment. And then now she says, Miss Jackson, you're going to have to go somewhere else, because we don't accept your insurance. That can't be right. They wouldn't have gave me your number if you didn't. Oh no, we take Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we don't take Medicaid. I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? You take one of my insurances. She was like, well, your Medicaid is your primary. No, ma'am, it's not. That's not possible. It's not possible for Medicaid to be your primary when you have another insurance. The other insurance is definitely going to come in first, and Medicaid is going to pick up the slack. So I'm like, run the Blue Cross Blue Shield then, and I'll just pay the copayment, because I don't answer these questions. I'm not doing it for nobody else. She was like, you're just going to have to talk to somebody else because your Medicaid is first. It's not first, ma'am. I go to the doctor, and I go to the doctor a lot. And I look at my bills. Blue Cross Blue Shield covers first. Medicaid picks up the slack. Well, I'm just trying to tell you because I'm a doctor and I know how this goes, and it's not going to cover. All right, let me call them then. She's like, okay, have a great day. So y'all already know the first thing I did as soon as I hung up the phone. I fucking bawled my eyes out because I'm like, why, Lord? Why can't something just go my way? Like, why does there always have to be a speed bump? Called Las Vegas Bariatrics back. They're like, no, Blue Cross Blue Shield is your primary. I'm like, I know this. I know this, and I told her this. So they gave me the name to another place. So I made an appointment for them. But of course, they tell me the appointment is not until January. So we're in like November at this point. So I'm like, fuck, man, I was trying to get this surgery for the end of the year because I was scared. The lady was telling me that Medicaid was going to be stopped for people, and I didn't want to have to pay no copayment for the actual surgery, which could have been like $4,000. So I was scared. Crying. So got done with crying or whatever because I'm like, what the fuck is that going to fix, you know? So some told me call that other place back. So I called her back and I'm like, ma'am, I said, even Las Vegas Bariatrics is saying that the Blue Cross Blue Shield is my primary. So she was like, well, what I can do is, she said, I'll just run a claim through. If the claim gets paid, then we can move forward. I'm like, okay, then yeah, let's do that. So she runs the claim. She calls me back like 3 days later, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They did pay out the claim. It's weird how they paid it out. But yeah, it's covered and you don't have a copayment. I'm like, okay, so when can we make this appointment? So she schedules the appointment. I think it was probably like a week or two out. So this appointment is via Zoom. And it's for an hour. Okay. So here it is. It's time for the appointment. I'm just standing outside of my job. I was working at Dre's at the time, so I'm standing in the parking lot of the Cromwell, talking to the lady or whatever. So she's just, we're just doing, small talk and shit like that. And she's asking me, about my kids. And I guess it was like based off like some of the answers that I had from the actual questionnaire. So she was asking me like, what are some of the side effects from the surgery? And I'm just like, honestly, I don't know about any of them and I don't care about any of them. The main one is death. And since I know that there's a possible case of me dying and that doesn't scare me, all the other shit is mediocre. So she's like, yeah, you never want to say that when you're having a psych eval. And I'm like, well, I'm not finna lie to you. I don't know what they are. I didn't look them up. She said, well, I'm going to ask you this question. What other surgery do you think that you would need to have a psych eval for? I'm like, ma'am, I don't know, because honestly, if it don't concern me, I don't think about it. If it don't affect my household, I don't care about it. I don't need a psych eval for this because I want to get this. So she was like, just guess. So I'm like, all right, I already know it's going to be wrong. Hip. And she was like, no, you don't need a psych eval for that. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you weren't letting it go. So she was like, no, you need it for plastic surgery. I said, I would never thought that you needed a psych eval for plastic surgery because there's no way half of these people are saying with some of the shit they got. So she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, she said, well, I don't think you're competent enough for this surgery, so we need to have another meeting. I will not pass forth your paperwork because I can lose my license if I say you're competent and I know you're not. Okay, ma'am. 2 weeks? All right, I'm off work waiting to start this podcast. But anyway, so leave it up to me, Sequoia, to find a way to fail a psych eval. Like, only me will find a way. So anyways, so I'm like, all right, 2 weeks, cool, because now I done already made my appointment for my EGD. I think that's what it's called, when they put the scope down your throat to look into your esophagus and all that shit. So that was scheduled for December 9th. So I'm like, cool, got on the phone and made my appointment with them December 7th. I'm like, that's gonna work, period. Let me get the study in so I can pass this fucking psych eval on December 7th, have my EGD done on the 9th, and then the bitch will have her fucking surgery like around Christmas. Like, all right, so here we are. December 7th. Oh my God. So now I'm already like, I'm like, this lady, first of all, we already had this issue with the insurance. And then I felt like, I honestly don't even want to talk to you, because now I feel like at this point, you just don't like your girl, because I feel like you was like, okay, I'm just going to put her through this, because either you trying to run the insurance up to get paid off of me, or I made you feel dumb because I knew that my insurance would cover your fucking services. Like, anyways, so we on the Zoom or whatever. So she's asking me the questions. So what are the side effects? So Sequoia, first of all, had my notes up on the TV, because if I'm a lie, I gotta read it. Like, I gotta read it, because the truth is gonna come out.